timestamp this part of the video, bookmark it, and anyone who asks you, just send them here, so that you don't need to know computer programming to, be a software engineer at all. And you don't need...
Hey guys, welcome back to the 8th video of Data with Darshil, and in this video we have a guest, Gaurav Sen. You might know Gaurav from his YouTube channel and his content. So in this podcast we discussed on various different things from system design, data engineering, how to excel in career, some of the mistakes to avoid in career, how to crack interviews, is DSA necessary to crack FANG jobs, and many more things. So I hope you enjoy this podcast and learn something new, and without wasting time, let's get started. So before we go forward, let's talk about our today's sponsor, ProjectPro. ProjectPro is a curated library of verified, solved, end-to-end project solution in data science, machine learning, and big data. All the projects are created by top industry experts from top global companies. Here you will get end-to-end project solution, reusable codes, guided videos, 24/7 customer support, get access to more than 2000 code recipes which are absolutely free, and buy the subscription plan to get access to more than 180 projects. On the ProjectPro dashboard you will get everything. You can track your multiple projects from the project description to overview to downloading the code, PPTs, and all the other things. You will get everything, and more than that you will get the guided videos. You can easily watch, understand the topic, so they will teach you everything from the scratch. So even if you are absolutely beginner to execute the project, you will get the much better understanding how to execute the entire project. So visit ProjectPro.io to know more about this. You will get the link in the description, and subscribe to ProjectPro YouTube channel now.
So initially, okay, I'll start with the how I found you, because I started, because I did my diploma from in 2013. I started my diploma and I graduated around 2016. So I learned a lot about technology, but I didn't know how to implement those things. So at that time I found you on LinkedIn, and you just started your career. You were in TechTI at that time, and you started your YouTube on the side. So you used to teach on the code chef, like how to do this computer programming and all the other stuff. So I used to follow you. This is where I found the competitive programming, the first definition of how to do competitive programming, how to do all this kind of stuff. So I started following you, and I used to watch your videos, and used to try different videos also, like multiple role-playing videos on your different angles and everything. You did a lot of creativity. So I used to follow you at that time a lot. Then I saw you going from the direct tie to Uber, and then quitting Uber. Now you started your own company, like Interview Ready. So I've seen the entire journey, and I used to follow you at that time, and also used to message you on LinkedIn. Your videos really helped me, because it did help me to pass a lot of interviews in my career too. So this is how your content had impact in my life. And as you can see right now, I started my own YouTube channel, and I'm doing this. So I never thought I'll have this kind of a conversation with you face to face. So I have this. That is the reason I was really excited to have this conversation, because when I thought about starting the podcast, I thought I'll get the Gaurav Sen on my channel once for sure. So it's it's finally happening. So this is what I saw from my point of view in your journey. So this is kind of the first question I wanted to understand. You made a lot of decisions in your life, right? Quitting job and going full-time YouTube, then starting your company. So I want to understand what is the general mindset you had when you were taking those decisions, and what was your starting journey, starting YouTube channel, motivation to start YouTube channel, going to Uber, then starting your own company. So just wanted to understand and start this podcast with that.
Okay, thank you so much for that. It's thank you so much for sending this email, and then I could I'm very glad that I'm here. So thanks, Darshil, for actually making this possible. Now why did I start a YouTube channel? Well, this was around 4 years back. I had a incident. I don't know if I should tell the whole story. I hope the audience doesn't get bored. But basically, I went to a place called Leh. It's in India. It's in Kashmir, near Kashmir. It's Jammu and Kashmir. That's the state. So in this place, what happens is you have a river which is frozen in the winters. So it's called Zanskar, and the frozen part of it is called Chadar. So, and therefore the name comes Chadar Trek. So all the technicalities done. We are basically walking on a frozen river during this trek. At the end of one of the third day, basically, I was so tired, and everyone along with me was so tired, that we took a halt, and we saw people coming from the other side. And they were saying that, there's ice blocks which are floating. Basically, the river is collapsing. So my friends came up with the idea that maybe we can jump over the ice blocks, like hop over them and go to the other side. So I said, dude, this river is like -2. If you go in, you're dead. So I was super frustrated, and as an individual also, I was a very, I think, angry and quick to judge people. So I started swearing at them, shouting at them, and telling that there's no way in hell that I'm going over this. So they just said, asked me to get the hell out. So like I'm not using any swear words here, but basically they asked me to get lost, and I took that personally. So there's two ways. One is going through the river, which I believe is too risky. One is going over the mountain. I went over this mountain, and when I was on top of it, I realized that I'm in big trouble, because going up a mountain is easy technically, but going down is where you can break a leg. So and I also still had that anger in me that no, I have to prove everyone wrong. I have to prove I'm self-sufficient. So I went down the mountain, and that's when I realized that, okay, Gaurav, if you have made a mistake till now, there's a good chance that you are actually going to die tonight, because it's -30 in the night. You don't have a tent. Your phone is not going to work. There's no signal or anything. How are you going to get back? Because if you get back, you have to go down, and it's the end of the day, so you can hardly see. So I started running on this ice, and it started making sounds like, it started cracking. So after some time, I started running on the edge of the mountain. You can't run on the mountain because you'll break your ankle or something. But if you run on the river, then you might go inside. So this is the point when it's difficult to explain. For the first time in my life, I realized there is no human touch here, and in a bad way. There is no plastic piece. There's nothing which is human. So today is probably going to be the last. And that's when I started actually thinking about my parents more than anything. The strange thing is, I used to worry about dying while lying in my bed comfortably, and used to think, what will happen after I die and stuff like that. That's pretty scary. But when the thing was really close, I realized that I just care about two things. One is family, and the other is actually, leaving a mark on the planet. So I survived. It wasn't that scary, I guess. I mean, after some time, I found a tent. But till then, I had already promised myself that, if I get out of here, I'm going to visit my parents more. I'm going to treat them better, and I'm also going to give back to the world, which has given me so much. So, and what better way to give back than the thing I'm okay at, which is component programming. So that's when I started component programming. I started actually recording videos of component programming, putting it out on YouTube. I reached out to many companies. All of them said no. So I was like, okay, fine, I'll do it myself then. That's when I started basically working on YouTube on a consistent basis.
Okay. So, I mean, that's, so like really philosophical, but like life-changing experience you had. So you went there actually. So that's like this, like things has happened with me also. Like I also went to once in Rishikesh. So I did the river rafting, and it actually changed my life, because I almost thought I died over there, but I survived. So I guess those are the life experiences actually changes you.
Yeah, it does happen. It does happen.
Yeah. So that's really good. So I wanted to understand more of a like technical career side, right? Because most of the people here want to make their career into tech field, and generally when you get started, you actually have no idea. Because when I got started, I had like zero idea about how the tech world works. Once you get in, you start getting like different ideas and everything. So I wanted to understand, why did you choose system design? I mean, you went from like computer coding, software development and everything. So why system design now? Or is there any particular reason, or everyone goes through the same journey? Like after software development, they end up being a system design, because that's the end point, kind of like, because you be a manager or product manager, and then you basically architect the system. So what's your opinion on that?
Yeah, sort of. Yes. Everyone does system design after a certain point in time. As a software engineer, yes. Hopefully you'll be doing some system design. What happens is, engineers in the first 1 or 2 years, what they're very focused on is code quality, is getting things right, testing, logging, making sure that the code you're writing is readable. So these are like basic software engineering practices. It's not even, I would say it's got nothing to do with engineering. It's more like development, or just any kind of work that you do in the world. If it is not understandable or readable, it's difficult to, and if it's difficult to explain it to somebody else, you are basically putting a single dependency on yourself. So it's every profession in the world requires you to be able to communicate effectively. That's what you learn as a software developer, engineer, for the first 1 year. After that, you actually start learning engineering. And engineering is about making sure that systems don't fail. Things continue working and all requirements are met. So that requires, or basically making things extendable so that tomorrow, when a new person comes in, they feel comfortable with the thing that you have built. Even if you see lawyers, they also think in the same way. They are actually thinking in terms of systems, and failures should not, break things. System design is basically taking course of computer science fundamentals and building systems, keeping those things in mind. Like, how can I make 10 computers talk to each other in a way that my customers are happy? My users should be able to use my product, and these 10 computers should be able to talk to each other because they need to, exchange data or whatever be the case. These things are done usually by a person who has spent at least 1 year in the engineering field, unless it's a startup where there is nobody. You have to do it yourself.
Yeah. So it's like the knowing the end-to-end picture from how the product to build. So I can say it's like a tech entrepreneurs, because they can build the end-to-end products. So they also know the system, how to build a system, because if you're starting up, then you should have a person who understands the end-to-end system. So it's kind of like similar to that, or is it different?
Yes, it is. It's taking product requirements and converting them into tech requirements. So in fact, product managers also learn this. Project managers actually learn this. And of course, senior engineers, engineering managers need to know this. You'd be surprised probably. I was very surprised when I saw that mobile engineers actually have a much better understanding of what are the requirements. So, and how do they convert them into tech, while engineers in the back end, they get a more sanitized view of what you have to build. They think about, okay, I'm going to build these APIs and things are going to go fine, and I'll validate the API if required, I'll re-implement it. But the people on the UI side, they are much closer, and they have to be much more aware of what is the user action that has to happen. I swiped up, I swiped, I zoomed in, stuff like that is something that I have to actually think about. It's interesting to think about, but you're right, it's closer to the product than just coding.
So I guess that's because you started your own company and you actually built the entire thing, like with the team and everything. So you might know the entire experience over there. So so wanted to do like similar exercise on that. So let's say if we take a company, let's say online e-commerce like Amazon. So if we want to build a system design, or if you just the approach of getting started with the system design, because I'm a data engineer, so I work mostly with the data side of the system. So I build the entire architecture from the point of view of data system, because once you get your data into relational database, then I'll start building the data warehouse, building pipelines, dashboards, so that business people can take decisions, everything. So this is where I generally come. But as a system design expert or system architect, how one person gets started, like with the approach of designing a system,
Well, initially, I think most of the time you'll be explaining or listening to people who have done these designs. So they'll talk about why they're doing it in a particular way. It's very hard to do it yourself and be very confident that this is a good design, because very often you'll see senior engineers say that this is how I'm designing it, I'm going to do this. And you'll say, hey, I should have a message queue there. Or can't we have a load balancer here? And the idea for the senior engineer is that, no, this is not required. Whatever is not required, you don't do. Till you prove that it has scaled, you don't do. So while in an interview, in that way, it is very, I have 1 million users. Like, where do you get those 1 million users? It happens in the real world. That's the reason why senior engineers are a little more careful. They say, if required, then I'll, scale this part. And so they don't over optimize beforehand. If you want to learn system design, that's one place to start. I mean, in your company, if you have senior engineers, or if you have any place where it needs to be scaled, there's a bottleneck or something, try to get in there, try to fix that part. That will really, help you improve your engineering. That would be one way. The second way is to actually read about war stories or read about scalable, architectures, like how did they build it? So Netflix, for example, or Facebook, for example, they they solve problems and then they document it and then they put it out there for everyone to read. So whether they do it for branding or not doesn't matter. You can benefit a lot by reading those blogs. So that would be like getting knowledge from secondary sources. That's part 2. And part 3 is, I mean, if you still want to practice and you still want to, do it yourself, there are open source projects where you will not be dealing with the design on day one, but definitely if you are, you're on a sort of a new project, let's say, which has a potential for a lot of impact, maybe you can get together with another friend of yours and you can build something open source. So when people start using your library, they're going to connect with you and say that, hey, this is my architecture. Your library is not able to scale. So can you, help me out there? So that's another place where you can learn design skills.
Okay, that makes sense. So yeah, that's wanted to ask you, like, related to the system design only. So let's say when a person who just gets a job in a company, right? So generally they start thinking from the point of view of, I just want to work, I'll get paid, and I'll just go home and chill. So the system design can help you to actually scale your career into the future, because you can get the higher position if you understand the system, and it will give you the broader vision, because how the product works if you are working in a product company, and everything. So for a fresher, how important is it is like if you're working in like for 1 to 2 years of experience, how important it is to prepare for system design interviews and learn those concepts? Like, are they going to use that particular thing like in the initial year, or it's going to take time, like 6 to 7 years? Yeah,
you start using it on day 1.
Okay.
Or day 2. I told maybe I should not have said that you will not be doing it. So I said that initially you'll just be coding and you'll be looking at code readability and all that. No, that's not actually the thing. They are expecting you to at least know about code readability, about testing, about logging, about stuff like creating an index on a database. Those are the bare minimum requirements. Every team meeting you go to, knowing about system design will help you. Design discussions, even if there is a outage, there's a problem, or you're talking to another team, every time concepts of computer science, concepts of building distributed systems will come in. On day 1, you will be told about the architecture, what are you doing and how you're doing it. At that time, knowing about at least the basics, like what is a message queue, or how are you going to send one message from here to there, like what protocol are you using. These kind of things are critical so that you can quickly scale up. Companies, that's one of the reasons why companies actually spend time training people. They teach them about design, they teach them about code practices also, of course, but this is critical. Like, without it, your career progress is not going to happen. It's that simple. Yeah. If
and
you want
also,
to be an engineer,
yeah. So also understanding of like multiple companies, such as I once saw your Tinder video. So you designed the entire architecture Tinder. So you get to understand how technologies actually work in real world, because generally when you get started, you don't know. You just think that there is an app, software developer might have built it, but there's like a lot of things that are going behind, like load balance, the databases are been crunched, and all the real-time streaming data is coming to you. So when you actually learn it, you understand a lot of things. So yeah, that's just wanted to put my point over there.
Darshil, so you are into data engineering, right? And then you have like real-time data, near real-time data. You have things in batch. Like, different people come to you with different requirements. Somebody comes to you and says that I don't mind if this is 1 day old. I care about long-term patterns.
Longer term.
Somebody says I need to exactly, long-term. So that's one kind of thing. Somebody else comes and says that I need this exact numbers because we fire a coupon code and we want to see how many people are buying it, or on New Year's Eve or on Diwali, I want to see things in real time. So people come to you with different requirements, and then you design the system so that you can meet those requirements. So in fact, Darshil, would you like to share a story on basically on the data engineering side? Is system design also relevant, or is it mainly about taking and reading data?
No, so it does actually. So it's like it's a part of the system design only, right? So as I said, like you have the relational, once you build your product and everything, you have like data coming in the relational data, or like NoSQL database and everything. So you have data coming from multiple sources, like images, texts, and like unstructured data and structured data. So now as a data engineer, it's your job to crunch those data together, make it in a proper way, so the data science person or a machine learning guy can, make those cool models like prediction and everything. So the entire pipeline of entire like cleaning the garbage and actually pulling out the value and building a reliable system over there, it's like the one of the key job of a data engineer. So it's kind of like the part of the system only. So when you have a product, and basically the products are basically a business, so consider like Amazon. So in the Amazon, it's a product, it's a business, but when you have the data and if you're not able to use the data, then it is no use. So there are business people who want to understand which products are getting more sold and what type of product customers are buying, so they can actually understand the business and target those people. So that is the reason, like, once you have the data, the company wants to use that data, understand it, and again improve the product. So again, improve the life cycle. And the same way you can use data engineering to improve the technical side of the product. So let's say if the load balancer, if you add 10 load balancer and you understand that at the maybe at the Diwali season, all the 10 load balancers are getting used, but at the let's say normal season, only 4 are getting used. So you can also analyze those data, use that data to improve the system. So it's like everything is connected. Most of the people think that data science is different, data engineering is different, software development is different, ye karo, wo karo, but at the end everything is connected. Okay, because you are at the end you're helping companies to improve their product and businesses. So I guess it's like everything is connected. That's the final part.
What's interesting about this is that like data engineering powers data science, powers analytics, powers dashboards, powers a lot of business decisions. These decisions directly impact everyone else. Like, so that's something that I find fascinating. Like what happens is you do something and you build your engineering around it so that things work as expected, and then when they do or they don't work as expected, you get the data around it, and then you change. So any large company has a lot of respect for its data. I think startups and medium-sized companies sometimes don't respect how much data is. Like it's difficult to explain how important data is. I'm starting to learn it recently at Interview Ready. For a long time we were just like, okay, this is a hunch, let's do it, and now we are like, wait. we have been trying that for a while. Let's try to understand what the customers are actually doing, so or what they are saying, so that we can figure out whether a feature is good, bad, not correctly done, all of that. So and like you said, engineering is all about making sure that the systems don't fail. So
earlier it was more compute based, now it's like data driven. So earlier we will be like, build a database, okay, build 5 to 6 tables, just add the data and we are done, because we want to keep the product running. But now people think about like building 10 different tables and how we can utilize those tables to actually get value out of their data, which data points to collect so that we can understand more about customers. So now companies are becoming more data driven. That is the reason, like data science, there's a boom in data science, right? Because everyone wants to get into data science, and there's like huge data available, but there are very low people who are skilled enough who can actually get value out of the data. So that is a reason there's a boom. And also I did not wanted to get into data engineering. I ended up getting into data engineering because I wanted to do something with the code and business side, and this was the part I found that, okay, this is kind of like a middleman, can understand both the business side and also technical side. And that's where I understood like the entire tech system, like broader picture of how product is built and how businesses actually understand the product and make decisions.
In fact, companies which are not data driven, right, are I can't see how they are going to, like, there might be certain businesses where you have to talk to customers and physically go and all that, but if you're a primarily online company and you're not data driven, you are missing out on a lot of things that your customers are telling you. So they know. And I can see, like, earlier what used to happen is people used to fire SQL queries and tell you that, okay, average cost is X. Now then slowly they move to dashboards, like, okay, we need dashboards and stuff. Now people are becoming even more like, okay, fine, we need some sort of anomaly detection, we need some sort of patterns to be recognized, and then things should happen dynamically. So that's at a whole new level. Many people were saying, machine learning is coming, and now I think it has actually arrived. So and data has become big.
Yeah, so it started when like companies thought like we need a machine learning person who can actually build a model and everything, but they realized that data are not properly structured to be built into the
Yes.
prediction algorithm and everything. So then they understood that we need a person who can actually first clear the garbage out, get the data ready, and then pass it to data science person, machine learning. So yeah, so that is the point I always say to my audience, is that everything is connected. Don't think that I don't want to learn, like, let's say, data science or machine learning. Understand how those domain work, even understand how DevOps work, because once you have the understanding, like basic understanding, you can understand the entire system, and that will give you much more clarity, and also the confidence increases, because you can say that the data might be going from here and here, so something might be happening there. Because if you're into one particular thing, let's say only development, or if you just learn one language and say I'm just going to work on this, then it becomes really difficult to grow in your career and understand how things work in real world. Yeah, that's the point.
Yeah.
And that's where the system design always comes into the picture, because the way I see the system design is like building everything. I mean, there are like multiple definitions, like technical point of view, like you might say like putting out different components here and there and connecting it, but it's like the entire tech system, the product, how it is built. So like solution architect or system architect or someone who builds the entire system. So yeah, just wanted to touch. So
Yeah, absolutely. It's true in both in throughout.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
it's
yeah,
true. You knowing about things, even from recruitment to how a person is getting, actually. If you're thinking of joining a startup, or if you're thinking of making a startup, don't try to hold yourself down that I am person number X, that I am an engineer. There's no way that I would do this. I don't like front end. Oh, I don't like that. No. Your customers don't care. Okay, so you either get people or you do it yourself, and best to understand so that you can help them out.
so
Right.
yeah, so we actually went deep into this system design. So let's come out and talk about some of the things like people face when they get started, right? So I want to
Sure.
understand the thing about this DSA part, because when I started, I didn't know much about DSA. Then I saw your videos, and Rachit, and I also used to follow him, and there are very less content creator at that time, but so I used to follow them and understand all these things. So how much DSA have you used in your entire career? So is it like you use binary search to do all these things, implement all these things, or it's just like some of the basics, algorithms and everything? So just wanted to understand that part.
Yeah, almost none, to be honest.
Yeah.
Very rarely. Very rarely means, have I ever used it? Okay, that's an interesting question. I have used one time. I actually did some sort of, we needed to write 7 for loops. It was a data engineering thing only. Like we were basically cleaning data. So we were taking joints on like 7 columns. So X to Y, Y to Z, Z to. So we could have run through 7 for loops, but instead I wrote it as a graph. I wrote it as this node is connected to this node, is connected to this node. So I wrote code for that. Even it's not a graph database, it's just code. So people were really impressed. I converted like that 7 for loop thing, and quite a few lines of code, like hundreds of lines of code into let's say 60 or 70 lines, a single file. So that was super impressive. But I didn't use any data structures as such. I just did a graph traversal.
You use the idea of the data structures and implemented your own way, kind of like that.
Yeah, like if you know BFS, right? That's what I used. Yeah.
Okay.
It was not any high level algorithm. It was
Yeah.
a very basic BFS. No, I think I made it DFS so that it was recursive and even less in terms of code lines. So and because we needed to go through everything, it didn't matter BFS or DFS or kya memory mein kitna aega. So that was it. I have never really used algorithms as such. I've never coded algorithms. There was this one time when I was talking to a person, and he had this idea that if you put it in a hash map, it becomes order n. And while he didn't realize that if you put a key of a hash map and you put a list, the list is still order n. I mean, he thought it is order 1, but it's actually order n. So over there, I had to explain to him, and then so it's happened in my life maybe 3 or 4 times. At most, but every time, like, it was a critical thing, that I have to say. It was a critical thing, because if that was not done, the system would have been a little slower.
Okay. Yeah.
But have I ever coded it? No, never.
Okay, because generally this is so like in short answer, we can say that the DSA and everything is just for the interview purposes to filter out the people. But in
Yes.
real world, you might use it maybe in some years. Yeah.
Okay, Darshil, now that you say it, the system design is also, let's say, 50% aptitude. DSA is like 95 or 98% aptitude test, just to check whether you are, smart or not. And system design is also like 50%, I would say, is just to check whether you're smart or not. Like, what are you saying? Scale this system. How will I scale this system? I have no idea what you're talking about. And, practically, what's the cost of this? What's the cost of this in terms of not just getting the resource, but also in terms of time? So these things, it's all aptitude tests now. Now they talk a lot about behavioral interviews, and they talk about, like, let's say 50% design, or build something in front of me, low level design. So that's more skill based than aptitude test.
Yeah. Because I wanted to ask this question to you because you've been into this space and there's like a lot of noise going, like every day people ask like, okay, should I learn competitive programming, TS and everything? So this is going to help me in the future or not? So I just say, okay, just do it for the interview, work for it, and then maybe see if it's gonna help you or not. And it also helps you to improve your problem solving. So I mean, it's a fair deal.
Yeah. Bookmark it. Timestamp this part of the video, bookmark it, and anyone who asks you, just send them here, so that you don't need to know competitive programming to be a software engineer at all. And you don't need, let's say, system design is useful, but don't pretend that you know how to scale a system to millions of users just by saying this is the way to do it. That's not it.
This makes sense. So now let's get off the technical side, and wanted to ask you the productivity, because I mean, doing things takes a lot of time. I mean, when I wake up, I just feel like, okay, I don't want to do anything today. I mean, even before this podcast, I was thinking, oh my God, I was quite nervous because, generally you procrastinate if you're nervous and, you want to do something. So whenever you want to do any task, you just feel like, even I have like plans to grow my channel and start something courses and everything, teaching online. So I procrastinate.
Right.
So I wanted to understand your productivity hacks, or what you do to push yourself forward to take actions. Yeah.
So what I do is, one of the benefits I have, or one of the unfair advantages I have, is that I'm running my own company. So there's no way in which I can say, dude, I should just relax a bit, because for all the things that people say about, you should get talent and you should get highly motivated individuals, you should, and then you should be more motivated than them. That's what you need to do. So we have a highly motivated team, and they are very cohesive, they work really well together. But even then, every day I do feel like myself waking up and doing something good. That is one thing. So if you're working on your own company, there's really not much room for error. Okay, that's the negative side of things. That's a low pass filter. The high pass filter is, why am I doing this? So Darshil, when you wake up, if someone comes to you and says, you know what, the other day, that data that you sent, that is what defined our decision. That is what changed the whole thing. The CEO said, there's no way. This data proves that everything we have been doing for the past 3 months is wrong. We are going to change our emailing policy, and we are going to make it, instead of 5 times a month, we are going to make it 2 times a month, and we are going to get more customers that way. The change has been like $500,000 per month. That is the estimated change. Thanks so much for doing this. So this is clear impact. So what impact are you making in the world? What impact are you making for your team? That's also really important. If I think about my company, Interview Ready, I think about giving people a means by which they can, have high job satisfaction. And that's like half of their lives, 9 to 5. When they come to the office space, if they feel motivated and charged like I do, and so that's a gift. That's nothing less than a miracle, and if they are not feeling that way, and they've gone through their options, and they feel like they need to switch either roles or a company, we are helping them do that. That is amazing. There are people who come to us who say that, my wife is pregnant, she won't be able to move, and COVID lockdown is going away, so my company is asking me to come, but I don't want to go there. I want to switch jobs. What can I do? Similarly, there are people who ask us that, I'm in QA, I'm in I'm working on a particular side of thing, maybe production engineering, and I want to move to the technical side. How can I do that? So it gives them a lot of satisfaction to come, and they're doing what they love. So that's what we are helping people do. We are helping them learn, we are helping them practice, and we are helping them actually get hired also. So that actually, there's nothing more motivating.
So it's mainly about finding your why and understanding it, how it is impacting people, and it will become your own motivation at the end, right?
Absolutely. And having friends around you who can boost you helps a lot. So if you have a team or something who's also motivated, helps a lot.
So like I asked a lot of questions, so I like one final question about the college student. So right now college are gonna start right again after the COVID. College are starting and a lot of people might be going in college. So what are the 3 mistakes or the advices that you want to tell them that you should avoid in the college? Just 3 mistakes or 3 advices, whatever.
First one will be, don't take roadmaps too seriously. Okay, I had a lot of roadmaps pitched to me in my life, like MBA kar lo, life set hai. You should do it this way. 2 years you should work, and then you should do an MBA. Bullshit. No one cares about that anymore. No one takes it seriously. So don't take roadmaps seriously would be point number 1. Point number 2 is, whatever you're doing, do it well. If you are working on a project, or you're working on a practical or anything, try to be the best in class. Try to be the best. Try to hang around with the best people. In the thing that you want to excel in. It will really help you. Even though you might say my college has no computer programming culture, and you are interested in computer programming. I'm not saying this for interviews. Like, genuinely, you're interested in computer programming. Find people online. Find people in your college. Tell them that, hey, let's do this together. I solved 5 problems. You solved 4. You suck, bro. And then the other guy says, no. So there's competition, but there's also collaboration. You teach each other. Do that. Be the best. And the third thing will be, don't focus, if possible, too much on short-term results. There's long-term things you can do, long-term plans. Many people have succeeded very late in their lives. There are people who have succeeded at the age of 50, 55. So, and how many years of your life do you remember? 10? In college, like 5? How many did you actually control? 1, 0? So you're not yet sure, right? So don't focus too much on the result right now. There might be a lot of people who are like breaking it, cracking it, succeeding in life. They're not succeeding in life. They're fucking not even 30. So what are they talking about? Like, I'm not even 30. So what am I talking about if I say that how to succeed in life? Like, fuck you. That's not true. So sorry for the swear words, but it's honest, that we are all very young. We are all trying to figure things out. Just try to be the best that you possibly can. You're learning in the process. Don't be too fixated on goals, and don't be too fixated on the roadmaps that people come through to give you formula-based, winning strategies.
Totally agree with that, because I also have faced similar things, and I'll say like having the good friend circle in the college helps you a lot. So if you are with the good people who actually pushes you, then it will actually change your life. Because I had friends who used to have fun, but who were like really focused into the career and everything, and that actually led the results in the end. So those are like the key advices. Thank you for that. So this were all the questions I had. So thank you very much for doing this, and thank you for sharing
Darshil.
your insights.
In fact, if I may ask you a question, if that's okay. Now that you have recently graduated, and you like it's been 2 years, right, or 3 years that you have graduated?
2 years, not 3 years.
Okay. 3 years. When you see interns come into the your organization, or you see new people join your organization, what would be one thing that you would like them to know? Like, what would be one piece of advice?
So I'll tell you how I used to intern. Okay, so when I interned in like one of the companies I used to work for, but there was a startup company, and with me there was one more guy. who came with me. Now we both had like different mindset when we were there. I, on the other hand, I was like wanted to do data science and everything, but I was thrown into data engineering and the DevOps side things, and I took it anyway, whatever the work I got, and I learned all these things, and I did not make any excuses that I'm not gonna do this because I don't want to do this. And on the other hand, that guy was just wanted to do what he has been told and didn't want to take any action. So he just wanted a certificate because he said, okay, it will help me to get the job. So I say, if you are interning at anywhere or just getting started your career into the actual world, be open to whatever comes to you and be open to do that thing. Don't say no, okay, I can't do this or I don't know how to do this. Find a way, because there are like online, you go just search on one Google search, you will find everything. There are a lot of communities, people will help you out there. So go online, find a way and do that thing. Because if you think that this particular thing will not help me right now, but it will actually help you somewhere in the future after 5 years. So that is the thing I learned in my like early stage of the career. And this is the one thing that my manager also told me, that don't say no to anything, just do it. Even if you feel uncomfortable, that's fine, but it will help you in the future for sure. So yeah, I mean, just do it. Yeah.
So okay, if I got that correctly, don't worry about what is school or what is
Yeah.
actual data science. Focus on what you need to do. Okay, yeah, that's really interesting. If I'm honest with you, what you can do if you ever feel like, dude, this sucks, man, this is nothing, this is not the real thing. And that time, just even if you can go to either your manager or the person who's come to you, if you have a product manager nearby, it's really useful. Ask them, why am I doing this? Why is this not being done by somebody else? So they'll tell you the impact. They'll usually tell you the impact. So that makes a big difference.
In the internship, I was working on data migration thing. So there was a SQL server and there was a Postgres server. Now I just had to migrate the data, and I was like, this is just a copy paste, and why the hell am I doing this? So this was my first question. But now when I work with the different clients as a freelancer, so I realized that a lot of people are facing this issue. A lot of people were in on premises and want to move to cloud. So I can help them now. That particular skill that I learned, I can use that skill to make money and help people. So whatever you do will help you somewhere. So just be open to learning. Yeah.
Amazing. Yes, absolutely. Data migration is no joke, dude. Like they trust you a lot if they give you data migration in the start, but okay.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, I guess, yeah.
Thank you so much, Darshil, for actually inviting. No, honestly, like it's great. The way you send emails is also just perfect. Darshil, in case guys, if you want tips on how to connect with people, it's Darshil right here, who's excellent communication skills, and also it's pretty funny, pretty humorous way. Thank you so much for inviting. Thank you for making this possible. It's always so nice to talk to people who have graduated, in the past 2-3 years, because I kind of try to understand what have they learned in the past 2-3 years, and it's great to see you guys are super smart. So thank you.
I mean,
thank you.
All thanks to you, because initial push was yours. So thank you for doing. I never thought I'll do this, but it's like I'm here and I'm doing this with you. So thank you very much. So yeah, that's it.
All right then, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
So thank you for watching this video till the end, and if you actually learned something new, then make sure you hit the like button and let me know your learnings in comment section. I would love to hear that. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.